This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, friends. Welcome to GoOnlineTrainings.com. So we had seen till yesterday uh, what is the control flow and what are the different tasks we have in the control flow. All right. Now, from today, let us understand data flow items. Let me open my project dev env. That's what I told you, right? Dev env. You will be able to find out Visual Studio 2017. This is how you should be able to open your software, right? So now you can connect your project. So under recent, so my project is where is my project? SSIS. Yeah, this is the project. So click on this project. It's going to be opening my existing project. One project can have multiple packages, right? So it'll take some time to open. Please wait. So this is the toolbox. I'm able to have it. Let me close. And this is a solution explorer. If you wanted to turn it on, you can turn it on. So this is what is the thing. Now, when you click on the control flow, you can get a lot of tasks. And we did not speak about containers yesterday. We'll speak about them later. Okay. So now, if you go to data flow, this will change. This is the toolbox. If the toolbox is closed, I told you, you click on this window. Toolbox, you will get it. When you click on control flow, you can get tasks. All of them are the tasks. So if you go to data flow, this will change. Here we have sources, destinations, and the transformations. Okay. When you open, you have a lot of transformations. You have common transformations also here, and you have some favorites. Okay. So you have sources. These are the sources from where you should be able to get the data, and these are the destinations from where you should be able to get the data. Okay. And we have common transformations and other transformations. Clear? So if you go to control flow, you will be able to get common tasks and containers. Common tasks and containers. When you go to data flow, we have other transformations and common transformations and other sources and other destinations. So data flow will have tasks. Okay. So these are the points you should know. Control flow contains what? Tasks and containers. Okay. Data flow contains what? Data flow contains sources, transformations. What is a transformation? We'll discuss now. Okay. Transformation and transformations, and it is going to be having destinations. Clear? So data flow is going to be performing ETL operations, right? That's what I told you. If you wanted to move the data from one server to another, one file to another, or from somewhere to anywhere, you can use only data flow. But data flow is a task, and the data flow is part of the control flow. Okay. If you go to control flow, you should be able to find out data flow is a task. If you wanted to work with the data flow, you have to drag and drop like this and double click on this. You will be able to go to this tab. Now you can do whatever be the data source that you would like to have it. You can drag and drop and have some transformations if you wanted to change something and move the data to the destination tables. That's what we can do. So control flow will have tasks, and one of the tasks is called data flow. Data flow is going to be having sources, transformations, and destinations. Let us talk about them today. Am I clear? Yeah. Anybody has any doubt? Otherwise, please mute. Above Sode, please mute. Yeah. So Now, let me discuss about this. Data flow sources and destinations. We have ADO.NET source and destination. We have Excel source and destination. We have a flat file source or called as a CSV source or destinations. We have OLEDB source and destinations. We have a raw file sources and destinations. We have XML source, but you cannot store into XML destination. That is not there. Then we have a CDC source, change data capture source, and we have ADO.NET destination. These are the only destinations. We don't have the sources here. Data mining model, data reader, dimension processing, Excel destination, flat file destination, blah, 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 something like this. So if you go to this, when you go to the data flow, let us talk about ADO.NET. So to connect it to any .NET, service or any, .NET apps, if you wanted to connect, you should be able to use this driver. Okay, ADO.NET source can be used to connect it to any .NET related applications. I would like to, connect it to a SharePoint server, or I should be able to connect to SQL server. I should be able to connect to any other applications which is built on .NET. Or even I would like to use Excel is also. Excel can be connected with the help of Excel source, and Excel also can be connected with the help of a ADO.NET source as well. Okay, any Microsoft applications can be connected with this. Clear? CDC reads change data. So CDC is going to be used for the incremental loading of data. You don't understand what is a CDC now, what is the incremental loading now. So don't worry about as of now. Let us talk about later. Excel source. So if you have some Excel file, if you wanted to read the data from the Excel, you should be able to use this source. You can also use this source as well to read the data from Excel. Okay, but normally special treatment is given by Microsoft, so you can also use Excel source to read the data from this. Flat files, nothing but a notepads. Flat file, nothing but a notepads, and that you can use. You should be able to read the data from the flat file source, and OLEDB source means you can read the data from any RDBMS. Okay, flat file means you have a notepad, you have a CSV files, you have a flat file, notepad, text file, whatever be the data that you wanted to use, you should be able to use that. And you can read the data anywhere and everywhere from the flat file, text files, notepad, CSV files, comma, separated values files will be available, that you should be able to use them. Now you have OLEDB source can be available to read the data from any data which is available in the SQL, means RDBMS service. I would like to talk to MySQL, Oracle, or Teradata, even SQL Server. So anything you can be connected, and you should be able to get the data there. Raw file is there to read the data from the raw file source. Let us understand the difference between raw file and the flat file very soon. And XML, if you wanted to read the data from the XML files, extensive markup languages, which are separate files, you have data like this. Okay, so XML files are created with the help of notepads only. So you will have like this employee. Okay, so and ID, employee ID, let us say 101. You need to have opening and closing tags. Okay, so this is what is called closing tag, this is what is called opening tag. Name of the employee, let us say Bhaskar, and you need to say closing tag. Okay, so I say name. Now what is my salary? Salary is $10,000 per month, and I have to close this. Now let me say closing tag. If you wanted to have one more employee's data, now this is how we're going to be giving the second customer data. 102, let us say John, so salary is as of now null, nothing is there. Now I would like to have the third customer data. Third customer 103. Now let us say Peter, and the salary is, let us say, 20,000. So if you convert this is into table, table means this is a table name and this is a column name. First column, second column, third column. This is the row. 101 Bhaskar 10,000, 102 John Null, 103 Peter 20,000. So this data you can have in the table as well, but the same data you can represent into XML. Why XML is invented means, now tomorrow what happens is that if I wanted to supply some data from one platform to another, for example, I wanted to read the data from Oracle to SQL Server or SQL to Oracle, or a Java wanted to read the data which is there in .NET. A .NET wanted to read the data which is there in Java. So .NET and Java cannot communicate because these are different languages. Clear? So if I'm not able to communicate to you, for example, you speak Chinese, I speak English, or you speak Chinese, I speak Spanish. Now I have some data, you have some data. Now we would like to exchange each other, but you're asking me something I don't understand because I speak Spanish, and I am saying in Spanish, you understand, Chinese, you don't understand Spanish. Then how can we communicate each other? Now you and me are working for a company. Now you cannot communicate to me, I cannot communicate to you. Company will not get benefited at all. So at the any time when I'm calling, so when you're calling me, you're blunt. I'm also blunt here. I cannot do anything. You cannot do anything. But individually, Java is good. Individually, .NET is fantastic. But when the communication happens, they don't understand each other's language. So that is where the platform dependency comes in. Clear? So platform dependency means language dependency. So this is where, so people have to have a common language. What is the common language? Spanish people, they speak Spanish. Chinese people, they speak Chinese. But what is the common language? Whatever be the common language, you decide one language. Both of them should know that. So normally in international, we use English, right? English is the common language. Even though you know .NET, even though you know Java, you should know one more language called just like English language. This is what is called XML language. Clear? So now you have Java this side. Java cannot communicate to the .NET people in the .NET language. So .NET should know XML and Java also should know XML. When the Java is communicating to .NET, when the .NET is communicating to Java, so when the Spanish guy is communicating to Chinese guy, or the Chinese guy is communicating to Spanish guy, they should have one common language. The common language could be anything, could be Spanish, could be English, could be Sanskrit, could be Hindi, could be X or Y or Z. Some language both of them should know. Clear? That common language is called as English. So he can communicate to you in English, you can communicate to him in English. Clear? Like that. Java, if they wanted to communicate, they will be communicating in XML, and a .NET application wanted to communicate to this fellow, they will be communicating in XML. So what do you mean by communication? Communication is exchanging data between two machines. For example, I am communicating to you. How do I communicate? I make sound. I say hello. That is sound. What's your name? I need 10,000 bucks. So did you make the payment? I am asking you something. You will be responding to me something, right? So, or we are exchanging the data. So exchanging the data is happening through the human beings with the sound. But machines cannot make noise. They have to exchange the data via signals. So what kind of a signals will go from Java to .NET? It is going to be creating a something like this. Clear? So that means I need some data from you. The data will be given. So Java may be using Oracle database. Clear? .NET may be using SQL Server database, doesn't matter. Or you may have some other SQL database, or maybe having some NetEase database, doesn't matter. So all the data from my side or your side, I'm going to be placing and giving it to you. So this is a common language across platforms. so that communication is slow. For example, you go to one of the bank, say ICICI Bank, you go tomorrow, or you go to Citibank. Citibank is developed with the help of a Java. You go to Bank of Baroda, or you may go Bank of America. Okay, Bank of America you go. So this Bank of America is using a .NET. So Citibank customers can go to ATM machines of Bank of America, and Bank of America customers can go to Citibank ATMs to withdraw the cash. Now the communication cannot happen Java to .NET. So what happens? Now the communication is going to be happening from Citibank to Bank of America via XML. Who is the customer? So you will get one, like this. So it is going to be creating one XML file, customer ID or the bank account number. Account number is 1234 is connected me. So that is what a application of java.net will create a small data like this. Okay. And he says that he would like to take cash. Is it going to come type of the transaction? He wanted to have 10,000 withdrawal. Okay. So sorry. It is a cash withdraw is a type of the transaction is going to be doing. Okay. This is the type. And what is the amount you wanted to withdraw? Amount you would like to withdraw is, let us say, 10,000. Okay. So this communication is going to happen, and it's going to be creating one small application like this. This communication is going to go from here to here. So you may be going from Bank of America to Citibank ATM and try to do something. When trying to do something, one XML file will get created from the Citibank. It is going to be sending to this application, right? Now .NET can understand, okay, Citibank is giving me this kind of information. Now you go and verify what is the amount this fellow has in your bank. Now it will also say that everything is fine, you proceed. One more communication will happen from the server, from that machine to this machine. Account number, now the status. You can give the instructions. Instructions, you say proceed. Okay, this is how the communication will happen. Instructions, it is providing you proceed for this customer. So now the Citibank is going to be giving you 10,000 cash. Now one more communication is going to be giving it to you. I have given the amount. Now you update your records. Clear? Now whatever be the amount this fellow has, $20,000 may be there. Now 10,000 deduction is happened. One more communication is going to be happening from this server to this server. Now there are three files got created. This is what is called XML. Okay. So why XML? What XML contains? XML contains data. Okay. So XML will have a nodes. This is what is called a root node. This is what is called, root, starting node and closing node. Okay. And this is, this is also called as a node. This is a starting or the, opening tag and closing tag. So you will have one node. This is a root node followed by multiple nodes. You need to have it. Everything is a case sensitive here. You cannot have account number as a capital, and you cannot have, sorry, this should be same tag has to be here. Sorry, I have written something wrong. So if you have something is capital here, you need to have something capital, and you need to close this. So this is the data. So this is opening tag, closing tag, opening tag, closing tag. This is how the communication is going to be happening through machines. Now if you wanted to communicate, we normally communicate like this, right? Employee ID, employee name, employee salary, 1 John 1000. This is how human beings communicate. Okay. So Notepad, Excel, MS Word, all of them are used to communicate to the customers. You can easily read the data if you store the data in the what do you say, in your notepads. But if you have some data that machines have to understand the data, normally we don't create like this. Machines will create this kind of a document, and this document is created in a notepad. Let me open one more notepad, and you place the data here, and it is going to be saved. Okay, so you'll say customer.xml file. So customer.xml file, this is how the XML files are created and given to the other applications. Clear? So when you go, you should be able to go to downloads, and I have just now created, this is XML file. When you double click on this, you can open XML file with any browser. Okay, any browser you can use. With the help of a browser, you should be able to open your XML files. Okay, so this is what is called XML file you can open. But how the XML file so is going to be created with the help of a notepad. Now the communication is going to be happening via machines with the help of XML. XML contains only the data. Why you need to invent one more language? Because to remove the platform dependency. Even though you know Spanish, even though I know Chinese, we need to have a common language to exchange our data. That is what is called English there. Am I clear? So these are the things that you got to understand. You need to understand always. Clear? So why XML means whenever you get the data in XML files like this, that can be processed with the help of this source. We don't have any XML destination. ETL is not there to create XML files and send it to else. Okay, so we always read the data from Excel, dump into data warehousing, or you may get the data from XML, dump into staging. So we never create an XML files and give the data to anybody else. But how each application is communicating in the real world, it is completely using XML files only. How Java is communicating to .NET, how .NET is communicating to Java. So they are communicating, they are creating the files on its own and sending the files over internet to the other application. The communication is happening like that. So that's what you need to understand. Clear? So XML files are created always with one root node followed by multiple nodes, and everything is case sensitive. Data can be uppercase, lowercase, doesn't matter. These nodes are case sensitive. These are our own tags. These are called as a tags or nodes. Okay, these are called extensive markup language. Extensive markup language. Clear, guys? So this is what is called XML. XML is a language which is going to be having customized nodes. Whatever be the node that you would like to have it, that you can have it. Whatever be the column that you wanted to create as part of the table, that is your wish. Employee ID, employee name, employee salary, employee date of birth, employee, date of joining, date of relieving, lot of things. There are your own column names like that, your own tags that you're going to be creating here. So to store your data. Clear? So XML stands for XML, stands for extensive markup language. This X is going to be used, markup and language. Now this is a case sensitive language. Case sensitive language. Now who's going to be executing? Not executing because it is not a exe file. .exe file means you can execute. This is .xml file. You cannot execute. You can simply read the data from it. So browsers, every browser can read XML file. Okay, so because every computer will have a browser has a parser. Browser has a parser which is going to be reading. Parser is a small compiler or a small engine or a small piece of code. Clear? So the browsers can read XML files. These are called parsers. Even you have a Java, you have a .NET, everywhere you have these parsers are available. So Java will have a parser, XML parser. Clear? The XML parser can read XML files, and XML parser can understand XML files and everything. The reading can writing can happen with the help of XML parser only. You cannot say XML file being executed. It cannot execute. Executing means you need to have exe files. Any applications can be executed. These are the files. Document cannot be executed. Document can be read, or you create a document, you read the document. .doc, .txt, .xls, all these files are called documents. XML is a one document. It is going to be having lot of data, but XML files are machine created files. You cannot, human beings cannot read the data Human beings cannot create XML files. When you write like this, you'll go mad. So these are implemented for the machines to communicate, machines to use it, not the human beings to read, not the human beings to understand. So human being never creates an XML file. Clear? The applications will create and use it. Why you need to invent an XML file? So that you should know that how the XML file is created and how the XMLs are read. XMLs are always read by the browser. Every computer will have a browser. Even though you have installed Linux, Linux will have a browser. If if you have Apple Macintosh, then you will have a MacBooks also will have a browser. So every computer in this world has a browser. Even Android applications also will have a browser. Android also will have an XML parser. So if I give something, .NET is communicating something to Android, or Android is communicating something to iOS. How the communication is happening today through XML only. You need to understand that. So sometimes we get some files. These XML files will bring you a lot of data. That data I would like to load into data warehousing means I have to use XML source. Clear? So that is the purpose of XML. Am I clear? Now you have a lot of destinations, ADO destinations we have to dump the data to any Microsoft technologies. I would like to dump the data to Oracle, sorry, to SQL Server, to SharePoint Server, or to even Excel also can be connected. You should be able to dump the data to any .NET means any Microsoft technologies apps that can be connected. You can take the data from it. You can also dump the data to those servers. Data mining model. This is for the data science guys. Okay, so nowadays data science is becoming more common. Data mining is called as a data science today. Data mining, data science. So data mining is not in depth of data science, but it is part of it. So data mining is a data science, more or you can say synonyms. So if you wanted to create any kind of a model that you wanted to implement as part of data science applications, that this can be used. Now, data reader, if you wanted to read the data from any .NET platforms, okay? So you have ASP applications were created. So if you wanted to read the data from ASP applications, some old applications, you may be having it. If you wanted to read, you can use a data reader. We never use all these things, clear? But it is given by Microsoft. Dimension processing to processing the data of a dimension, we're going to be using. So this is with the cube processing, SSIS. We never use all of them, so forget about it. So we never use SSIS to process a dimension processing. So people who know SSIS, so they can understand this. So as of now, you leave this. Excel destination is used to read the data from, to dump the data to the Excel destination. Flat file means notepad, CSV files, or any kind of a flat text files data. If you wanted to dump the data to the text files or to the notepads, you can use this. OLEDB means any RDBMS. Any RDBMS includes SQL Server, Oracle, and MySQL, NetEase, PostgreSQL. Any RDBMS can be connected. Partition processing again for the cube processing purpose. We don't use from here. And raw file destination. So writes raw data that will not require parsing or translation. Okay. For example, allows packages to run faster by reading from a local raw file instead of a slow source, or mainly distributes data for parallel processing purpose. We will discuss in depth. Please wait. Record set again ADO.NET people are going to be using. .NET people are going to be using ADO.NET if they wanted to read the data in their applications. Clear? SQL Server compact destination to read the data from small databases. I have an Android mobile phone. Android mobile phone cannot communicate to large database. So they'll have a small databases, tiny databases are available. So those are called compact destinations. Clear? If you wanted to dump the data to the compact destinations, then you can use SQL Server compact destination, SQL Server destination to dump or to load the data to the SQL Server destination. You can use this. Clear? So these are the things we have. But normally, if you join any company, if you join any company, what are the sources from where you should be able to get the data? So that is also one of the important question people may ask you. Okay, you said you're working for 10 companies or you worked for 3 companies. Now tell me what kind of a data you have loaded. What are the types of the data? You can tell them that we were getting the data from the flat files. Clear? Or you may be getting the data from the Excel files, or you can tell them that we are getting the data from XML files. Okay, if they ask you for the databases, so I may read the data from Oracle, or you may read the data from SQL Server, or you may read the data from any DB2. Okay, you may read the data from my MS Access. So you have a lot of them are available, but in a single company, you cannot do everything. So you can tell them that these are common and you can choose one or two. I was reading the data from flat files, Excel and XML sometimes, but 90% I will be getting the data like this, 90%. Okay. So you can tell them like that 90% we're getting the data like this only. So 5% Excel and 5% XML. And if you ask me databases and we are using Oracle and SQL Server, we are getting the data from only, or you can say DB2 and SQL Server, or Oracle and DB2, or you can say MS Access and SQL Server, any combinations. You cannot say I'm using everything, then people will suspect. If you say I have done everything within 3 to 5 years means they may suspect you. The companies will not have this much of variations. Remember this. Okay, so one or two from here. So flat file and XML, and you can say Access and SQL Server, or DB2 and Oracle, or Oracle and DB2. Some one or two combinations we can tell them. So I was reading the data from here, SQL Server and MS Access, or I'm reading from Oracle and SQL Server. So if you have, so my company is using a SAP application. SAP means they are using compulsorily SAP. Sometimes SAP people going to be using SQL Server also. If you say that I have one of the application, I am reading the data from that application. That application name is called SAP. That means you are reading the data from Oracle. That is the meaning. I am using a mainframe server. Okay, I am using a mainframe server. I am getting a lot of data from the mainframe server. Mainframe means mainframe is storing the data in the DB2. Mainframe and DB2 from which company? IBM company. Clear? I worked for one of the company where we were reading a lot of data from DB2. So the application is called mainframe. So we were reading a lot of data when I was in Microsoft. We were getting a lot of data from SAP. So we were getting the data from Oracle that time. Clear? So if you're using SAP, mainframe, DB2, SQL Server, you may be connecting to one of these and get the data, and you should be able to load the data. Clear? So tell them clearly what are the data varieties of data you're getting it. You can tell them that we were getting XML, Excel, flat files data. Sometimes we will also get raw file data that we'll discuss. Okay. Sometimes also we'll get raw files data. Sometimes 1 or 2%. Okay, but much more time we will be getting like this. And Oracle we were using and SQL Server we were using as a sources. Or you can say DB2 we were using, MS Access I was using, SQL Server I'm using. So whatever you would like to tell, you can tell, but 1 or 2, but not to say everything I'm using it. Clear? So if you have 5 to 8 years of experience, you put minimum 2 projects. That is more than sufficient. Don't put 3 to 4 projects. But end of the day, if you put 2 projects or 3 projects, 5 projects, if you don't have proper knowledge, then it is waste of time and energy. Put only 2 to 3 projects in your CV maximum, and make it very clear, crisp, and 2 to 3 pages CV. Don't go for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 pages. Clear? So I have 20 years of experience. My CV with 2 to 3 pages, not more than that. Okay. My CV with only 2 to 3 pages, not more than that. You cannot write, 20 years of experience. I have gone there. I have worked on this, worked on this. That is useless to them. You say you say single line in the professional summary. You write so and so time I worked on this, and that's it. Give latest 2 3 projects, and that is more than sufficient for them to understand your technology. Am I clear? So this is how you have to understand. Now the first question is that we were talking about a lot of sources, lot of destinations. The first question, what is the difference between flat file and raw file? Flat file has a structure. Raw file doesn't have any structure. It is used to read the or to get the data from the original data sources. These are used for the staging. The staging means a temporary, less performance and high performance while reading the data. Okay. At the time of reading the data, at the time of writing the data, flat files are slow and raw files are very, very fast. Requires a connection. You need to have a drivers to read data from the flat file. Clear? So flat file source, it is going to be having a driver. So using the driver, you can read the data from this. So no connection required, no driver required. If you have some data in your flat file, only you need to tell the path of the raw file. So, but if you said only the path, it is not enough. You have to also install the proper drivers to read the data from the flat files. Now extension is .txt, extension is .raw. Let me give you one real-time example where we can use. So I was having a mainframe server. I was working for one banking domain. Lot of banking data, old banking data was in mainframes. Okay. So mainframe. Mainframe means a database. A database is a DB2. This database, they have installed a DB2 server and they create a, let us say, Bank of America, BOA. Bank of America is the database name. It is having a lot of data, lot of tables are available here. So this is the data. It is in the table format, right? So lot of tables have created, customer table, sales table, products table, this table, that table, lot of things are available. But all the data I wanted to get from where? From mainframe application, DB2 database. The database name is called BOA, Bank of America. Now, if I wanted to extract the data, now I spoke to the mainframe developers. They told me that you cannot come to our server. We are going to be giving our data to you. Clear? You don't come. So they said they will be performing ETL operations. They have done some ETL. Whatever be the tool, let them use it. They are using it. All the data, they're having a lot of tables here. So customer table, you can say sales table, something like this. So database means tables only, right? So end of the day, you have a customer table, and this is a sales table, like that. Now, all the data, initially they were dumping into one of the server. This server, what they done in this server, they have created a folder called Bank of America files. Clear? So all this customer data is going to be loaded into this. This is the file, and this is the file got loaded. Now this file is called as a customer.txt. All the data, how are they loading it? They are loading it with the help of txt. So destination is txt. All the data got loaded. The sales.txt. Clear? So I got the data here as txt files. One file is here txt, one more file is a txt file here. Now from here, what we're doing, we are taking, we are using some SSIS, or you may use another ETL, anything you can use. And finally, we are loading this data from our data warehouse. So this is my data warehouse. Okay. Now this data warehouse could be, so this data warehouse may be SQL Server, Oracle. So if I take directly the data from here, I can take it, I can dump it. But definitely I need to have a lot of conversions and everything. And these people are not allowing me to go inside. So what they have done, these people only exporting the data from source to the destination. Destination is a some folder. So it is a destination folder, it is stage folder, a temporary folder. Two files got created, customers.txt, customers the sales file. So they're dumping the data from here to here via ETL. So they created one more ETL, they're dumping the data. While dumping the data here, these files are very, very slow to take the data. Remember like this, okay? This file is very, very slow. If they have 1 million data to be loaded onto this file, it is taking 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. Why TXT files are very, very slow? Because TXT files are going to be parsing. Okay, they're going to be parsing. Parsing means doing some kind of a checking. For example, I open a notepad. I write something here. When I write something here, say I am Bhaskar Jogi. If I am writing something here, it is a parsing whether it is compatible to me or not, whether this letter is compatible to me or not, whether this letter is compatible to me or not. Notepad is parsing, checking. If I open a Win Word application, MS Office application, so I'm opening one application, I'm writing some data here. Okay. After writing the data, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to apply some special bullets. I would like to have some kind of a bullets like this. Now this data, I would like to copy, go to my notepad, and I would like to paste it here. When I'm pasting it, now you see, this has been modified. Have you seen this? Now the first question, who verified and who is modifying? These are the two questions you are going to be asking. So if they verify, then only they'll come to know that this is not supported in this kind of a tick mark is not supported in the notepad. That means each and every letter is verified whether it is compatible to me within this text file or not. That's what I'm verifying. For example, you are having a B positive blood. So one doctor injected you A negative blood. What happens? What happens now? Tell me. So when you have something, your body is automatically verifying with the existing blood with the new blood which is coming in. So when it is verifying, verification is going to be happening automatically. So you got a negative blood, automatically you die. Or you take the proper food, what happens? Everything will be all right. You take the bad food. So your body is going to be verifying the food status. If it is bad, you will get a lot of vomiting sensation, because automatically body is a computer, as a system, it is doing a validation. It is compatible to me or not. If it is not compatible to me, it is going to be reacting. It is going to do something. It is going to be performing an action like that. Whenever you inject some data into the flat file, it is going to be checking each and everything. When you eat an apple, body will check apple is good or bad. So that kind of a checking is going to be happening in your stomach. If the apple is bad, then automatically you will get a reaction. So the verification is going to be happening. Now, whenever you store this, whether it is compatible to me or not, it is going to be verifying. Now you think, if I'm storing 1 million data, every letter is going to be parsed, or parsing is going to be done on each letter. So when you have when you're writing millions of rows, millions of letters, it is going to be checking, is it good, is it bad, is it good, is it bad. So automatically writing speed will get decreased, because it is parsing. You go to the airport, they'll open each and every luggage and they scan it, and they'll ask you to come before 2 hours, 3 hours. International means more than 5 hours. Why? Because they wanted to parse, they wanted to scan, they wanted to check, they wanted to validate that everything is smooth. So like that, notepads are scanners, notepads are parsers, notepads are validation points. Each and every letter is parsed. So because of that, so when you're loading the data to the notepads, what happens is that this is going to be taking a lot of time. So very, very slow. If you load 1 million rows, it may be very much, very much slow. Clear? So what Microsoft recommends, you don't store in the TXT. Don't store in the TXT. You better store them in the raw file. Okay? So you create a RAW file. So you create a RAW file. What do you mean by RAW? So when you give RAW file, you are telling, I don't want to waste my time. So RAW means what happens? These two will not happen. No parsing. If there is no parsing is happening, nobody is validating, automatically this will not be there. This will become, this is not slow, it is known as a faster. Okay. What is the advantage of a raw file? Raw file is completely driverless. No driver is needed. That is first thing. Second thing is that parsing is not going to be happening. Whatever be the data you wanted to store, you store it. I don't want to validate. I don't want to store anything. If somebody is saying you get the luggage, whatever you wanted to get to the airport, we never check. We never open any basket. You come to the airport and go. You just take whatever be the flight, you take it and just go. So we don't check your luggage. If somebody is saying like this, do you think that you go to airport before 2 hours, before 3 hours? No, need not be, right? So nobody is validating the data here. Nobody is checking the data here. And the raw files are faster. Why raw files are faster? Because it is no parsing, no validation, nothing. Whatever you would like to dump, you can just dump it. That's it. I don't want to cancel. I want to do any kind of a checking. So these are faster. Why these are faster? No parsing. So when you dump the data to this stage folder, when you create .raw files are, these are faster. From these files, you can take the data from here. You should be able to dump the data, but raw files are faster. You cannot read the data. Reading, no structure here. No structure. You cannot read. Lot of things are minus points here. No structure, no read, no parsing, right? No parsing, but only good advantage, it is very, very faster. If you wanted to read the data, you store the data in the text files. You can read. But am I reading the data here? Am I reading the data? Am I migrating the data? I don't want to read the data. If I wanted to read the data, I can read in DB2 or I can read in data warehouse. But I don't want to read in between. If you don't want to read in between, you better use it. Don't use the text files or Excel files or XML files. You better use the raw files. Okay. So because the raw files no structure, how the data is stored, we don't know. You cannot read the data as a human being, but machines can read very, very faster, and no parsing is done, and which is very, very faster. So these files are called as machine understandable files. These files are not meant for you, human being, to read. Machine understandable files, okay, which are not human understandable, machine understandable files. Okay, so machine will understand something, you understand something, right? For example, you eat apple, you understand apple. Do you think that your body can understand apple? Body cannot understand apple. Body can understand something else. What is that? Body can understand carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, water content, potassium, magnesium, iron levels. So body understanding something different, you're eating something different. For you, it is a banana. For you, it is a apple. For you, it is a orange. But body, do you think that it understand banana? It understand apple? No. So body understandable, that is a machine. Machine understandable is something different. Human understandable things are something different. So when you eat apple, you say that I have eaten apple. Body understand that I got 20 grams of glucose now, 5 grams are vitamins now, 2 grams are minerals now, 0 grams are iron now. That is what his body can understand after digestion. So when you eat the apple, there's a digestion process will happen, and after that you get the energy. So that means whatever you're eating, that is not a machine understandable energy, right? If there is a digestion process has to happen, then only you will get something, you will get energy, otherwise not. But when you go to a hospital, you don't have energy. What they give you? What they give you? They'll give you a lot of fluids. So fluids, why? Because there is no digestion, no parsing, and no digestion. Immediately you get the energy. So that is body understandable food. So fluids will be injected in your blood. Immediately the patient who is in very weak, and he will get a lot of energy. That is machine understandable food, or your body can understand that. No need of digestion, no need of conversion, directly energy, like that. So these files are completely machine understandable files. right? You cannot open these files. Even though you open these files, you don't take a fluid and chew, you drink. No, you cannot add some soda to that and you cannot drink. That is, body understandable. People will be injecting to your blood. So try to understand. So you cannot open something, double click on the raw file, let me read the data. You can get a Greek and Latin there. No English will be there. It is no structure. You cannot do anything. So always you must use raw files if you wanted to migrate the data from one platform to another platform, because no data types issues you will get it. And always these are very, very faster in the nature. No drivers are required. Lot of things are there. So from here you're going to be down putting the data into this, and you can use this as a staging. Staging means a temporary. So temporary purpose, we're going to be using the raw files. Okay, these are very, very important things that you should know. Has a structure because human has to read. So it doesn't have a structure because here not meant for human to read. No structure. It can manage whatever it wanted to have it. Original data source. If you wanted to store the data somewhere and if you wanted to read, then the better going for flat file. But I don't want to read any data used for the staging purpose. Staging means a temporary purpose. I don't want to read anything. So then going for raw file. Less performance because parsing is going to be happening. These are slow to read and write the data. High performance because no parsing is done, no validation, no checking is done. These are faster. Requires connection, no connection is required. Extension is .txt, here extension is .raw. So this is what you need to understand. So raw files, we never use them for reading purpose. Somebody will give me raw files in the pen drive, I can give it to the SSIS or any Informatica ETL. So those applications can read the data from it and it's going to be loading into some other destinations. From there, the reading can start, but not in the staging, not in the raw file itself. Clear? So that's what you need to understand. Now, in terms of flat files, we have a lot of flat files. One is called delimited flat file. Then we have a fixed width flat file. Then we have row ragged flat file. Then we have ragged right flat file. There are four types of flat files, or people will say these are called CSV files also. Okay. What is a delimited? Like this: employee ID, comma, name, comma, salary, comma, gender, comma, department ID, comma is a separator called as a delimiter. So this is going to be separating the column values. Clear? The column data in a flat file is separated using a delimiter. You may use a tab space, comma, or dot. Anything can be there. Okay. You may have anything. For example, you may have employee ID tab space, name tab space, salary. So this employee number one, let us say Peter, salary 10,000. Two, John, salary 20,000. So I save this file, Control S. I'm going to be saving this file. I can save this file, however, I would like to use it. Let me close, create a new file. I wanted to save this file. Save this file. Let us say employee.txt file. Let me save somewhere. So in download folder, I'm saving it. So this file is called as, let me open, go to downloads folder. I can see employee.txt. What is this file? This is called as it is not a comma separated value. It is tab separated value file. But the file is called employee.txt file. Okay. So this is not a comma separated value file. It is a tab separated value file. So if you wanted to have one more file with the comma separated, we can have like this. For example, I have one more file, customer ID, comma, customer name, comma, customer phone number or customer gender, something like customer one, let us say John, gender male, customer number two, Peter, male. Okay. So like this, I can save this file. So this is a customer.txt. So let me save this as a customer. Now, what is this file? This is file called as a, this is what is called CSV file. Okay, this is also a file called txt file only, customer.txt. Clear? So text files can be CSV files or text files. All these are called as a flat files. All these are called as flat files, or people will say notepads, or called as a text files. Okay, so people in that they will be telling you as a TSV files, a tab separated values files, or you may be getting CSV value comma separated value file. So maybe getting data like this or data like this, doesn't matter. So whatever be the uh, delimiter that is there, you can have it. You can have one more file like this. So I can have a sales data. So sales ID, space, single space, and data of sales transaction and sales amount. So here we are going to be using a single space, sales ID 123, data of say 11122020, and the space, single space, you should have 1200. So like this is a single space file. It is not a tab space. Clear? So like that, you can have different delimiters you can have, or some people will have like this, at the rate, at the rate. So what is a delimiter? Delimiter is at the rate symbol here. So you should also have a delimiter is at the rate symbol everywhere. So at the rate symbol is telling you that this is a separate thing, then this is a separate thing, something like this. Whatever you wanted to have, you can have it. Clear? So that's what is the delimited files. Then you have one more file is called as a fixed width flat file. It has width to define columns and rows. So sometimes what happens, I'll tell you. Let me close all these things. We have a file, yeah. So employee ID, name, salary, gender. Now, if I give you something like this, do you understand what is the first column, what is the second column, what is the third column, what is the fourth column? Do you understand this? Because everything is, joined together, combined together. We don't know, but sometimes we get the data like this without any special marks. But how can we understand how SSIS knows that this is the first column, this is the second column, this is the third column? You have to give a width or the size. So you need to say first three letters are employee ID, next 10 letters are employee name, next five letters are salary, next one letter is gender. So you have to define width. You have to define the width to the each and every column. So these are called fixed width flat file. The width is defined to each and every column. Now, how do you store the data? You cannot store the data however you would like to store. For example, employee number 1, Peter, and a salary 1000. So if you give like this, it is a wrong data. Why? First three letters are treated as employee ID. Next 10 letters are treated as a name. Now it is a wrong way of reading. You don't get the data properly. If you wanted to store same data, you have to store 001. So this is the first three letters is Peter. Now PETER 5 characters. Now 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You need to give the space. Now these are four letters. So you better include a 0. Then after that you have a male. Clear? So this is how you should be able to store the data. So SSIS can read this as a employee ID. Very good. The next 10 letters are called as employee name, 10 letters. From there, 5 letters are the salary. From there, 1 letter is gender. Clear? So it is going to be reading like this. Now here, now column is fixed. Each and column is fixed. At the same time, row is also fixed. Can you increase more and more data? No, maximum 3 letters, 3 plus 10, 13, and 5, 18, 19. So here, the row size is 19 letters only, 19 characters only. You cannot go beyond that. So row column is fixed, only 3, only 10, only 5, only 1. Column is fixed, column size is fixed, column size is fixed, row size is also fixed here. That is what is very, very important. Row also you cannot have more than 19, maximum 3 here, maximum 10 here, maximum this. But if you go to CSV files, employee ID, comma name, comma salary. So I can say Peter, and his name can be anything else. Very big number you can write, very big name you can write, comma, the next is value. So the row can, this can take a bigger number, a bigger value, a bigger string. It can take it, because there is no limitation in the CSV file. So only thing is that you need to have space, or you need to have comma after some time, then the next value. So here there is no worry of row width, but here column width is defined, and because of the column width is defined, row is also fixed. That's what you need to understand. So you cannot have more, the, if the Peter name, if it is more than 20 characters, and definitely it cannot be used. Clear? If that is the case, either you increase it to 100, or you increase it to 1000, or you try to store like this. If you don't have the proper sizes, then you can go in for like this. Clear? So understand there is a limitation problem, because here there is no limitation issue at all. So that is the thing that you should understand. Ragged right file is the last line of the flat file will end with the new line space. Okay. Sometimes you may have some fixed width files, or some any files you will be having. So you have some file here. Okay. So this file is having a new line. When you press enter, the cursor is blinking here. What is the meaning of this? So when the cursor is blinking, it means that it is going to be having a new row. But unfortunately, it doesn't have any new row here. It is a blank line. So these kind of files are called as row ragged flat file. The fixed width flat file is having a different notation, or a new line ending something, ended something like this. It doesn't have any kind of a data. The last line of the flat file will end with new line. So normally, if you have some kind of a new line characters here, when you try to dump this data to the destination, in the destination table, you will get a lost line will with blank values or null values. Sometimes your flat file will give you error, because this, you cannot, the SSIS cannot understand, the destination cannot understand, because it is saying there is a row, but if you see the row, no data is available here. Clear? So this is what is called row ragged flat files. And you have ragged right flat files. Space is added after the end of the row. Sometimes you may have a data, but after this you have a lot of spaces like this. For example, I have employee ID, employee name, employee salary, employee 1, say Ram, and 1000, employee 2, Kiran, 2000. I have some data, and after that you will be find out some kind of a spaces there. Okay. When you have this kind of a spaces, it is going to be occupying a lot of space, and you need to trim the space and dump it to the destinations. Clear? So you may be having a last line will be the new line, or you may have a different notation as well, something differently. So those are called row ragged flat files, and you have a ragged right flat files as well. We don't get this kind of a flat files heavily, but you will be able to get fixed width also very less, but will get delimited or TSV files, CSV files, flat files will be able to get 90% of the files will be like this only. Now, if you wanted to get the data in Excel, so Excel also people are going to be using and giving the data. So Excel is storing the data not in the file. It is going to store the data in the sheet. Okay. If you have sheet name is employee, and when you save this as a you know employee.xls. So sheet is also employee and your file name is also employee. What will happen? So now you have a employee.xls and there is sheet. Sheet has a name. So how to identify whether it is a sheet name or the file name? When you see employee dollar symbol, when you see dollar symbol, it indicates the sheet name. Okay. So that is how SSIS recognizes. So what is employee? What is a file name? What is a sheet name? So you need to understand a dollar symbol indicates the sheet name. Even though the sheet name is employee, then the file name is also employee when you save it. You remember? So dollar symbol means that is a sheet indication. So you can have Excel as a source, Excel as a destination. You should be able to get the data from Excel, also dump it to the Excel. Sometimes what we do, we get the data from tables, we create an Excel destination and dump the data to the Excel destination. But 99% of the time, we never use Excel as a destination, flat file as a destination, and 99% of the time we are going to be using a data warehouse is as a destination. That means SQL Server, Oracle, Teradata as a destinations. So Excel is a destination is very rare. See? Excel as a source, yes. Flat file as a source, yes. XML as a source, yes, but destinations maximum the data is going to go to the RDBMS only. But can we load into destinations? Yes, there is a Excel source and Excel destination is also available. You can dump the data from DB to Excel. You can get the data from Oracle to Excel. So you can do that. So the last one we had OLEDB destination and SQL Server destination. One of the students got this interview question. Okay, what is the question they asked intelligently? OLEDB destination means what? You can get the data, you can send it to any RDBMS. If you can send it to any RDBMS, so why separately again SQL Server destination? Because SQL Server is also one more RDBMS. So I can use OLEDB itself. I can use OLEDB destination itself to connect to SQL Server. Then why should I use a SQL Server destination? In which cases we're going to be using OLEDB destination? In which cases we're going to be using uh, SQL Server destination? What is the purpose? There is no Oracle destination. There is no Teradata destination. Other servers you can use OLEDB, but only for SQL Server there is a special treatment given by Microsoft. So the Microsoft answer is like this. Microsoft is saying it works for local and remote servers. It works with the local servers. It is slower, it is faster, it is RDBMS. So it is any RDBMS it can connect to only SQL Server. What is the meaning? Let us understand in the detailed manner. So many times you get the data from OLTP machines, right? OLTP could be your Oracle SQL Server or maybe files. You may have a databases here, you may have a files. All the data we are going to be dumping to where? We are going to be dumping into the staging, from staging to the data warehousing. So normally what happens is that you have one server. This is my data warehousing server. Okay. So this is one SQL server or Teradata, any data. So here you will have a couple of things. One is called, you will create a database called data warehousing database. You create one more database called staging. Okay. And you also load your SSIS packages here. End of the day, remember, all your SSIS packages, where will it be deployed? Will it be deployed to OLTP system or OLAP system? That is one point. The second point, where is your staging? Maximum times staging is also is be part of the data warehousing machine only. This is a database. This is a database. This is one more database. Okay. So data warehouse and staging will be available in the single machine where the SSIS package is also created and deployed. We never keep SSIS packages separately. We never keep staging a machine separately. We keep everything in the data warehousing or the OLAP environment only. Now, if the SSIS package is wherever it is available, in that machine, you have SQL Server installed. So, SSIS packages and data warehousing available in the single machine. That is means local. Each and everything is local to each other. I am staying in Hyderabad in India, and where you are also staying, we are local people. But you're in America, I am somewhere here. We are completely remote people, right? So SQL Server in running inside the data warehouse you have, and SSIS package also available. If this is the case, so what you use, you can use SQL Server as a destination. Why we should use, which is very faster, which is very faster. So you can use this. This is one scenario where you have to use OLEDB, could be anything, but source could be anything, but destination you drag and drop SQL Server destination, so that you can dump the data very quickly. We can also use OLEDB destination, but it will become slow. Clear? So OLEDB is a bit slow. So Microsoft is recommending wherever SSIS packages are available in that machine, if you have a SQL Server, SQL Server is acting as a data warehousing server. So if that is the case, you better use SQL Server as a destination, which is very fast. This is one thing. Okay, where you need to use this one. But if that is not the case, one more case you have. So this is not SQL Server. So instead of this, you have SSS packages. But in this machine, people have created a data warehouse with the Oracle. Even though everything is local, packages and data warehousing available in local machine only, but if that is the case, you cannot use a SQL Server because destination is what? So this cannot work. So in that time, so you need to use this one only. Clear? So OLEDB destination can be used. Even though that is slow, we cannot do anything else. So what is the situation? Even though everything is in the single server, but the software you're using, not the SQL Server as a data warehousing server, you're using non-Microsoft. Okay, non-Microsoft RDBMS could be Oracle, Teradata, Netezza, all these things. Even though all of them are available here locally, you must use OLEDB destination. Clear? Or sometimes what happens, this is your OLTP, this is your SSIS, and this is your data warehousing. So this could be one more situation. Okay, so now SSIS is separate machine, it is not in the single machine. This is the source from where you're getting the data. SSIS packages are kept in somewhere else, and this is maybe SQL Server, this is a data warehousing. So this may be SQL Server, Oracle, doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. So here compulsorily you must use OLEDB destination on. So if you wanted to dump the data, so you must use OLEDB destination only, even though we are using SQL Server, but these are not in the local machine. Both of them are available. SSIS packages are running in England, and my data warehousing server available in, let us say, Dubai. So the source is available somewhere else. If it is in the remote machines, if everything is segregated, separated, then go in for OLEDB destination. Only one case, wherever you have SSIS packages in that machine, if you have data warehousing with SQL Server, use SQL Server, which is very faster. For all other, this one, you may be using OLEDB only. Even though that is slow, we cannot help it. Okay, it works for local and remote machines. It works for local servers only. It is just slower, it is faster. Any RDBMS can be connected, only it can be connected to the SQL Server, that to local machine. Clear? So these are the things that you should know. So this is what I am explaining. SSIS and database are available in a single machine, and like local SQL Server and local machine and SQL Server is installed. So here this is there in Dubai and this is there in US, and this is the data warehousing machine, maybe SQL Server, maybe Oracle machine, but still SSIS is going to be using OLEDB destination to dump the data to this destination. So these are the two things that you should understand clearly. Clear? So we have to discuss about transformations. So this one we'll discuss about tomorrow. So We have three types of transformations that are available: blocked, partially blocked, and non-blocked. So these things we will be discussing tomorrow. Thank you guys. If you have any questions, you're welcome.